Hi guys, this is SDJRSNF88 speaking with yet another update on Argonne Forest, my hotel room micro layout. So welcome back to another update. I believe this is update 4 now, and as you can see there has been plenty of progress and it's really starting to take shape. We've got things like the back scene done, a lot of the landforms, and most importantly the bunkers. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I'd like to apologise for the lighting. It's a bit darker in this room than in the other one I've been working in over the past couple of weeks. I think it's the positions of the lights with this room. I'm on the different side of the building and the lights appear to be more towards the back end of the room and not over the desk, sadly. So it's been a bit harder to work on the layout, and I hope you're able to see what I'll be showing you. But anyway, on with the actual update itself. I've been doing a number of different things, first of which is of course building up the landforms. Now I've done this by using some installation sheets, foam sheets, and these were all cut and shaped in the room, which as you can imagine was a bit of a challenge in itself. It did get a bit messy in places, but I managed to sort of cover my tracks, managed to dust up what I could from the carpet before I ran away to work the next day. But yeah, basically the sheets were cut to shape. I cut them into strips. I then sort of stacked them up and built up the sort of contours of the hillside or the rock face that I wanted. Once I was happy, I then glued them together, and then I chipped away at the face of them to create the rock effect. Now, to sort of amplify this and make it stand out a bit more, I added a number of Woodland Scenics ready rocks in a number of different locations, a bit like what I did with the raised areas on Amiens 1918. Now, these rocks are a bit expensive for what they are, really, but I must admit, the effect of these rocks really do transform the the feel of the rock face, and it really is sort of a good material to use, so I highly recommend them. Basically you only need a couple of them, so I've dotted 6 of them about on the layout. The rest of the gaps will be obviously covered in with foliage like vines and other bits and pieces from the wooded area. On top of all this will be the main bulk of the foliage, so I've got a load of trees and shrubs to sort of build up a load of depth, sort of like what I did with the tunnel on Amiens 1918, where it gives the effect of the train going into a woodland, and that's what I hope to try and recreate here. Once it was all in position, I then went over with a brown acrylic paint, and it really does bring out this sort of rock effect. Now, I was originally intending to go over this with the mud effect, but looking at it, and of course with the addition of the back scene as well, which we'll come on to in a moment, I'm starting to wonder whether it is a good idea or not. I might in a couple of places, but as a whole I'm really pleased with how that paint has sort of brought out the effect of the foam, and it really does look like a rocky outcrop. So you never know, I might keep it like that and of course just blend it in with the foliage, but we'll have to see. But of course with all this landform built up, it meant that I could finally get started with the centerpiece of the layout, which is of course the bunkers, which we'll come on to now. So as you saw in the previous update, I was experimenting with the optical illusion for the bunkers, using a picture I took in the Jersey War tunnels, paired up with the Wheels cattle creeps, which form the entrances to the bunker. Now that effect, as you saw, turned out quite well, and I was very pleased with the overall effect, giving the bunkers the feel of depth. And basically there's about an inch between the actual entrance to the bunkers and the back scene where that picture is used. So when I inset the bunkers into this sort of the landforms, I first tried to cut them in to the polystyrene or the foam sheeting, but I found it very, very hard to keep the faces, the bunker entrances completely flush and at a right angle. So in the end, I resorted to cutting some MDF, which was measured and then laser cut at work, and it provided a nice straight edge for the bunker faces. So I basically made these little template things, which I then sort of slotted into position, and then I built up the landform around them. Of course, they are not attached down, and they're still not attached down now, which meant I could slide them in and out. Once I was happy with them, I then started adding the details. So I added the doors to the back of the entrances, and I also added the interior detail to the bunkers as well, which includes a number of ammo boxes and a figure. However, you cannot see them currently as the lighting is. However, well, the other things I've been working on, if I just turn off the desk light and turn on the wall switch, you will see that I've added interior lighting. Now this is just a simple amber LED which is hidden behind one of the doors on either side of the bunker, and it really does give a nice little warm glow, so sort of like maybe a candle light or maybe a sort of an oil lamp, and yeah, it really does sort of bring back the feel of depth. So as you can see there in the bunker on the left, we have a WD model figure which I painted up a couple of updates ago, and you can see he's sort of walking out of the bunker past a number of ammo boxes and crates. And then in the bunker on the right, we have a number of boxes and crates again, all piled up with a number of trench tools. Now, I'm very, very pleased with how these bunkers have turned out, and I hope you will agree. Of course, do leave feedback in the comment section below. I really want to hear your thoughts on this, but I think it makes an absolutely wonderful centerpiece for this layout, and it's turned out just how I imagined it. So do let me know what you think of them. So another big change to the layout, and one I've literally just finished before picking up the camera, is the addition of the back scene. Now the back scene is made up of a picture that I took of a row of trees or a tree arch down one of my lanes where I live back at home with the family. And basically that same picture was used on Amiens 1918 for the road vanishing off into the distance. Now I've gone to use that very same picture, as I hope to achieve the same effect here with the little road that's going to be running along the front of the layout on the left of the board. And you can see it sort of goes off into the distance there, and this is where the Renault tanks will hopefully be coming from. Now once I put that in position down there, I thought, well, why not go around the whole of the rest of the layout, back scenes with sort of a similar effect. So I printed off a number of the same image, and I just cut the top bit off, which is where the trees were the most dense, and I just basically stuck them all around the back scenes, and it gives the effects of a thick woodland. And of course all of this would be covered up with the sort of the woodland scenics materials and other scatter materials I have, and the foliage, much like what I did on Amiens 1918, and build up a real sort of dense woodland area, much like the real Argonne Forest. So it really does add a lot of depth to this layout just by simply adding a picture, but once that foliage is put on top, it should really come to life. So for this part of the update, I thought I'd give you a little guided tour of the room, as many of the comments I've had on the videos and of course on the social media pages has been, what have you been doing with the room? How are the cleaners being affected by this? Well, it's quite a simple reason really. The layout is packed away every evening once I've finished with it, but when I am working on it, the room does get quite messy. So if we pan around here, you should be able to see my stock box. Now this box contains all the paints, glues, tools and scenic items that are needed for the build, or what I hope to be what I hope to use for the build. Of course, working at Pico, there is the added perk of there is an on-site model shop, so if there's anything I'm missing, I just pop down on a lunchtime or on an evening and quickly make some purchases before leaving to come back to the hotel room, so that is a bonus. But as you can see, there's loads of paints, there's woodland scenics in there, there's loads of different crates in there containing, I don't know, about 15 different types of paintbrush, wires, screwdrivers, wire cutters, basically everything. Of course, at the end of the week, I have to take this box home or back to the office, basically every week, and it weighs, I think, about 10 kilos, so it's a bit of a challenge moving this around the hotel at the end of a week, especially when you're on the top floor on the far end room, which I am this week. So yeah, a bit of a challenge. If we go up to here, we have the other box. Now this is the actual box that the layout goes in, and you can see I've got some more modelling materials up here. This is what I've been sort of working on over the past couple of days. These are some of the installation sheets I've been cutting and using to build up the landforms, and of course there's a ready rock there that's come spare. But yeah, this is the box it all fits in. So I know a number of you guys have been asking about these boxes as well. These are of course the really useful storage tubs for wrapping paper, and the layout slots in there perfectly. So again, on an evening when I finish with the layout, simply pack all the tools away in the box down there, and the layout just gets plonked in here. So yeah, all very tidy, and it's covered up with these bin liners just to make sure it's all safe and all together. And of course, when I leave the hotel, take the layout and all the bits and pieces back to the office, and it's pouring a rain outside, which more often than not it is, the bin bags help protect the cardboard packaging and everything else that's loose. So yeah, this is what it actually looks like when I'm doing some modelling. So hope this is cleared up with you guys of what it actually looks like when I'm modelling in the hotel room, and just shows you some of the tools that I have to bring along to achieve what I'm doing. So I guess that's all for this update, and once again I hope you enjoyed the progress on Argonne Forest. It really is starting to come together, and I'm very pleased with how it is turning out. Of course, the next step is going to be the most messiest part of the whole process, and that is of course the mud effect, which will involve mixing up wood filler, PVA and paint in the hotel room. Now this is going to be a bit of a challenge, as achieving this effect is messy at the best of times, and how I'm going to do it in this room and not upset the cleaners, I do not know, but it's all part of the challenge, so we're going to see how that turns out. Once that's been put into place, it's then a matter of adding all the little details, the figures, the crates, the platforms and of course the foliage, and then pretty much we'll have a near complete layout. Of course I've still got to assemble the fiddle yards. The baseboards are back at home, so you never know, we might be able to make a bit of progress on those as well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, this has been SDJRSNF88 speaking, and thanks for watching.